We're really excited to have everyone here, and we'll just give it another quick minute as folks are joining us. But it looks like we've got an awesome turnout, so I'm very excited about that. I'm going to turn it over to our student moderators, Christopher Martinez and Princess Adams, and they're going to introduce themselves, and then they're going to turn it over to our panelists to introduce themselves and their organizations. So Chris and Princess, take it away.
So starting off, my name is Chris Martinez. I'm a sophomore with an accounting major and a finance minor. I'm the student leader for today's session, and I'd like to introduce my co-host, Princess Adams.
Hi, I'm Princess. I am a senior as well. I'm a marketing major with a minor in accounting and a concentration in leadership. That was a lot. Chris and I both are student leaders for our First Gen organization, and I am very excited to be here with everybody today.
And along with being excited, I'd like to just thank all the panelists for joining us today. A lot of great folks representing different companies today. And, you know, I just imagine that a myriad of information is going to be shared about each organization and industry. So who would like to start?
So I can start. My name's Kyle Kniss. I'm with Travelers Insurance. I've been with Travelers for about 12 years now. I'm actually a North Central College alum as well. So good to see some familiar faces within the organization. A little bit about Travelers. So Travelers is the second largest property and casualty insurer for commercial property and casualty, and we're the sixth largest personal insurance writer for property and casualty. So we have a vast offering of career opportunities, both within Naperville, Chicagoland area, and then also countrywide. So I'm excited to talk about my experiences and share those opportunities with you as well.
I can go next. My name is Megan Trzynski. I am the Senior Director of Corporate and Campus Recruiting at LaSalle Network. LaSalle Network is a national staffing, recruiting, and culture firm. We've been in business for 22 years, and over the course of that time have placed over 80,000 people in temporary, temp to hire, and direct hire or permanent positions. We work with clients all over the country. We are headquartered here in Chicago. I've personally been with the organization for almost 14 years now, and I joined as an entry-level recruiter right out of college. So very excited to be here today.
I can go next. My name is Chrissy Brown. I am the college campus recruiter for Northwestern Mutual in Oak Brook, Illinois. Northwestern Mutual is a wealth management firm. We deal mostly with financial planning for clients that are looking for long investment issues or concerns that they have for their future, but along with the risk management products. So we kind of give a really good comprehensive financial planning system. And then from there, we do have a bunch of offices all over Illinois as well. So, but I currently work with the Chicago network office downtown in the city of Chicago as well. So I'm super excited to share more about anything you'd like to know about financial planning today.
Hey everyone, my name is Eric Beardmore. I'm a division recruiter with Consolidated Electrical Distributors, or CED, based in Indiana, but cover Northwest Indiana, Illinois, Chicagoland, and Wisconsin. We are a nationwide wholesale electrical distributor, so we sell electrical supplies and products to electricians across the country, and we primarily focus on commercial, residential, and industrial segments of the market. We're hiring for internships, our management training program, and some sales and operations training positions. But I've been with CED almost 6 years. Actually spent most of my time in the Chicagoland area, managed our Naperville location for a few years before transitioning into this position back in the fall.
Hi, my name is Rich Crowley. I'm with Argonne National Laboratory. For those that are familiar in the area, Argonne's been around for 75 years. We're the first national laboratory within the Department of Energy complex. We're operated by the University of Chicago. We are looking for internships year-round in financial management procurement services area. I personally have been at the laboratory for almost 23 years. I'm the compliance lead, and I've been managing the internship program. Prior to that, I worked in industry, and prior to coming to Argonne specifically, I was with Fannie Mae Candy. So I've got a strong presence in the Chicagoland area, and love the location, and love Argonne's role in that area. And hopefully we can see some great interns from North Central continue over at Argonne.
And I am Holland Brems. I am the manager of talent acquisition here at Calamos Investments, based in Naperville as well. So a lot of North Central students are familiar with us. I've been at Calamos for almost 5 years now, and I head up all of the recruiting efforts from internships all the way to sector heads. So we are a boutique size asset management firm. We have institutional clients, wealth management clients, and also intermediary divisions. So I'm excited to talk about all the opportunities and partnerships with North Central.
Thank you. Those were really great explanations of your businesses. Good job. For everybody here, what we're going to be doing is Chris and I both have some questions that we want to prompt you guys to answer, and then we're going to be opening up the floor for other participants to ask questions, but also feel free to just pop a question in the chat box at any moment. So since we've got a few, I believe out of my classmates, I know a few other business majors here. So I want to know specifically what makes your specific organization unique within your industries.
I can go ahead and start that one. So at CED, we have a really unique business model. So we have a lot of national competitors in the electrical wholesale market, but what makes us different is we are the largest privately held electrical distributor in the United States. And we have a very decentralized business model. So we actually give each individual location. So we have over 700 locations, and each one of those has a manager, and he or she is like the CEO of a small business. So you're running a location that typically has fewer than 10 people, does anywhere on average from $2 to $5 or $6 million in revenue, and you get to do everything from decide what we stock, how we price our items, how you want your personnel structure to be, how you compensate people. So you have the benefit of a lot of local control. If you're someone who's interested in sales and management with a strong entrepreneurial spirit, you can make decisions without having to worry about getting different levels of people to sign off on things. And you're ultimately held accountable by the numbers that you produce at that location. So that decentralized business model where our corporate office supports what the individual locations do, it makes us really unique in our industry.
If anybody else would like to respond.
Yeah, so Travelers specifically, one thing that might make us a little bit different in terms of us versus other insurance companies is that Travelers is one of the, from a property and casualty insured perspective, Travelers is one of the very few that are actually publicly traded. And the one thing that I'll say about our company financially is we've always kind of held pretty, our investment portfolio has been pretty strong, which has allowed us to endure some challenging times. In 2008, we had some challenges with the stock market, and we were able to kind of persevere where some of the other insurers out there really didn't have that same benefit. So I would say from a financial standpoint, Travelers has been a really good company, strong financial results, and how that has helped me in my career is just the stability, right, within the company and the organization, and just knowing that that the company is going to continue to be financially strong, and I'll continue to have some of the things that I had when I signed up to start my career at Travelers. So that's what I would say is one of the things that I would say to someone who's new, that's newer to the job or the workforce, is just to keep your eye on some of those things as you're exploring new careers. Especially as you're looking to stay a long time at a company, just making sure that you're understanding that financial result component and how they take care of their employees that way.
I can go next. So Northwestern Mutual is kind of unique in a couple ways. One is that we have our own products that no one else can kind of use, which is really exciting. So we do have a little bit of differential and variations of both our investment products and our risk management products. So that really is exciting. We've also been basically top ranked in our internship programs every year, at least in the top 15. So we're really super excited about that. We have one of the most innovative internship hands-on experience, both from a internship from our sophomores and juniors, but also our seniors who are graduating and starting, a business and financial planning. So that's super exciting as well.
I can go now. One of the things that I think sets Calamos apart from others in our industry is we are, like I said, a boutique size firm, but one of the things that's so great about that is we love to promote from within. So one of the things that I'm called on specifically to do is recruit for both sales and our research departments, typically 1 to 3 years out of school. And we literally are throwing resources and tools at these new associates so that they can grow and develop, and we can grow our talent organically. So that's a huge thing that we really pride ourselves on. And then the culture piece as well. Being a smaller firm, we are privately held. We're family owned starting in the 70s, and we have that family feel that I know a lot of candidates that I do phone interviews and phone screens with really care about, making sure that they know the culture that they're coming into, that it's a supportive, learning, and growth oriented culture as well. So that's a lot of the things that draw people to Calamos, specifically myself as well.
I can certainly, if you don't talk about Argonne's uniqueness, we're the first national laboratory, so we kind of have that prominent positioning. There's only 17 laboratories in the country that specialize on research and development in the space of the Department of Energy. So we have a unique set there. We don't compete with industry. We are providing basic research on a lot of subjects because of the unique facilities and capabilities that we have. And we are leading in a lot of different areas like artificial intelligence, the materials design and research going into battery or other energy storage, and certainly in nuclear research that we do. So we have a lot of uniqueness in the scientific area, and from a business perspective, it's a different field than people would normally encounter within industry. It's a lot more complex because of the appropriations laws that we often have to follow, and specific guidelines provided to us by our sponsors. And it actually makes it pretty exciting. The fact that we know that the impact we're making is not necessarily making products, but making an impact on society. Just as an example, our research in COVID. So it is an exciting place to work, and there's always something unique and novel that's always going on.
I can speak about LaSalle Network. So I think really one of the big differentiators for us as compared to other staffing and recruiting firms is our focus on learning and development. So for any new hires coming on board, we have a 6-week training program called LaSalle University, where you get a comprehensive introduction to the world of recruiting and staffing, and you learn essentially everything from soup to nuts, how to work our candidate database, how to make effective recruiting calls, how to manage your time effectively and hit goals. And then we also have a commitment to training on an ongoing basis for our existing staff. So I think in 2020, we dedicated about 600 hours to training and learning and development alone for our existing employees. And I know that that's a big differentiator for us, and our training program has received a number of awards and national recognition.
Awesome answers, guys. So moving on, there's another question that I actually want to present to you. Coming from a first-gen background, Princess and I know it can be kind of difficult to know what the entry-level sort of positions are, or what are the qualifications. So I want to start with Calamos specifically, since they were kind of like a smaller sort of boutique firm. I like that wording. What are you guys looking for when when hiring sort of entry level positions or just fresh grads?
Of course, depending on the hiring or the position that we're hiring for, we always like to see, with the background of a candidate, a lot of focus on, if it's a staff accountant position that they're applying for, internships that are related to that, work projects that are related to that. That's always very helpful. But from, I guess, soft skills standpoint, folks that are looking to learn, grow, and develop, because as I mentioned before, that type of candidate profile does very well here. People that want to, learn not just the tasks of their job, but be cross-trained. That type of hunger is very well received here at Calamos.
Nice. Did a bigger company want to answer on this question as well?
Sure. So did you want to go, Rich? So you go off mute there.
We could certainly speak to it. So, from our perspective, because we're unique, we realize that we have to invest in training in certain aspects because of the uniqueness of what we do. So we're usually looking for people that have demonstrated an aptitude for inquisitiveness, who through their academics have shown that they're branching out and looking to learn and understand different perspectives and get involved with different concepts and classes. Essentially, I like to find people who we have they're almost a detective. They're always hunger for learning and understanding things, especially if it's not necessarily within a trajectory of their academics where they kind of branch out a little bit. Because of the unique aspects of what we do, we're always looking for people that are nimble and flexible to get involved into different areas. And if they are going to remain at Argonne and we have a high retention rate, we're looking for people that over the course of their career are going to be able to branch out into different areas and have that flexibility. So that's something that we definitely look for. And people that are not shy about communicating, especially when we look at accounting and finance majors, we're not looking for the stereotypical bean counter who kind of hides in a cubicle and just crunches numbers all day. We're looking for people that can take those numbers and actually clearly articulate them to stakeholders in a good way. And we realize too, when they're entry level, they're learning how to do that effectively. So that's kind of what we look for initially, and definitely go from there.
Yeah, I've heard kind of across the two examples that were provided so far, kind of that hunger for learning and the aspirations to continue to, want to develop. And I think the open-mindedness related to that is something that in any position at Travelers, folks who are successful and have had success in their career, they keep an open mind towards kind of learning new things, right? Regardless of what discipline they're in. So I would say that that's definitely one of the things for us. I think the other thing is problem solving, the demonstrated ability to just problem solve, think on your toes. And then time management is also an important aspect of something that we're looking for from someone who's new to industry. So I would say from a Traveler's perspective, those are some of the additional things that we're looking for.
Yeah, I can speak on Northwestern Mutual. So since we are more of an entrepreneurial aspect in terms of getting your business taken off, right? Learning finance, helping people. One of the really big key things is service oriented, right? Making an impact in people's lives, wanting to help people and be front facing every day. So having that client relationship is super important when we look for candidates, right? We want you to be excited to network. We want you to be excited to meet with people on a day-to-day basis. So if that's the type of personality and you're hunger driven for that type of role, then we get super excited for candidates like that. In addition to just improving soft skills. So we really like to make sure that in our program, since it's 3 months almost of training over the summer when you're with us, both on an internship and post-grad program, we do want to make sure that you're improving your soft skills. So presentation, communication, networking, getting out of your comfort zone. So those are really great things we strive to help as well.
So at LaSalle Network, where we're hiring entry-level recruiters and entry-level salespeople, I'll say that we're definitely willing to consider recent college graduates from a wide variety of educational backgrounds. There's not necessarily, one specific type of major that we're usually seeking, but it's all about the soft skills for us, I would say. We look for people who seem to be service oriented as well, people who have had maybe some sort of experience working with customers, dealing with complex problems, thinking quickly on their feet to resolve those problems. And then I would also say it's really important to us to find people with an evident work ethic and a really strong drive to achieve personal goals. So that's critical as well.
And then just real quickly for us at CED, looking for people who are entrepreneurial minded, have a strong interest in business development, sales and management. Really could be anybody, but we prefer that you have a business degree type background. And just someone who's willing to work hard, work in a fast-paced work environment, interested in taking on a lot of different tasks, and wants to work for a growing essential business.
Excellent answers from everyone. And if I could just take the role for a next guy, I just want to squeeze in another question real quick. For students considering some of these industries, could you share some skills or qualifications that North Central, our institution, could provide to our students right now? I know we have a myriad of resources both in the School of Business and otherwise. So is there any maybe hard skill that we would need at the moment? And specifically, I'd actually like to ask Kyle Niss from Travelers Insurance, since he was a North Central alumni.
Sure. So I would say there are certain parts of our organization where they are looking for some hard skills that are related to maybe this audience. I'm not sure how many finance majors are out there, but there are some roles within our bond and fiduciary underwriting departments that require the ability to do a financial analysis, right, or some sort of financial work within their coursework that demonstrated ability. But I would say, as you cast the broader net to kind of the local offerings that we have within the Naperville and Chicago offices, both in the underwriting and claim organizations, we really keep an open mind for all different types of majors, all different types of experiences and background. Definitely some internship experiences is going to separate you from other folks in an entry-level position. Some demonstrated, if you don't have an internship, some demonstrated work experience that you can talk about in an interview. But really, we're looking for, as I stated earlier, kind of that growth, that the ability to want to grow within an organization, the time management skills, demonstrated time management skills throughout your undergrad career, and then the ability to show kind of how you were able to think on your feet, problem solve, interface with customers, stuff like that. So those are really the key competencies that we're looking for.
I kind of have a question going off of that, because you all are mentioning how what soft skills and hard skills your companies are seeking, but I do want to know we're of the generation who we're all about job satisfaction and challenge, and how much our jobs actually invest into us. So how would you describe how your specific company kind of invests into your employees' skills and abilities? How do you make your employee better?
I can speak to that. We do, as part of the HR team, we do have a director of learning and development. His name is Tom Plashevitz. And in addition to the new hire and new hire orientation that we do ongoing training with the new associates to help them either catch up to the industry, introduction to finance, things like that. But also from an HR perspective, we always encourage our associates to participate in continuing education. If it's an additional designation that's industry specific, like FINRA licensing, that's something that we do sponsor, and we do provide a lot of support for, from not only a management standpoint, but also from a financial standpoint. And then we also, like I say, encourage people to, go back to school if they want to obtain their master's or a CFA or a CFP. If it is job related, again, that's something that we will carry for associates, or we'll actually pick up some of the costs associated with those tests, just to help with, some of the financial burden of that. But again, it just speaks to how we really do encourage our associates, for continuing education to better themselves.
I could speak to that at Argonne. Just the nature of what we do is continual exploration and knowledge transfer. So we've actually stepped back and started investing in that heavily within our own team at operations level as well as in the scientific area. So we have what's called the Argonne Leadership Institute, an organization that stood up a couple of years ago to help develop people to grow within their careers, not only in leadership, but also in other tangible skills necessary for people in a professional environment to be involved with, whether it's training on diversity and equity and inclusion, or it's training on the basic regulatory environment as a manager. And then within each of the divisions, we roll out training internal and external to our audiences. Within the financial area specifically, we actually develop training for all our employees. We'll leave it open for anybody who needs to enhance their skills, but it also expands that out to any of our researchers or any of the people out working out in the divisions that might have an inherent curiosity about that process. So we don't prevent them from participating in that type of training. And then, of course, we have other training offerings by our HR group like LinkedIn Learning. And I encourage my interns to actually take full advantage of that during their time. So there's times when they may be slow from work assignments to actually delve into LinkedIn Learning. And we try to coach them on how to ramp up certain skills that might be more specific to the individual to help them when they finally bridge from academics into the professional career.
Yeah, and I would say at Travelers, we're a property and casualty insurer, and many of you are probably sitting on the phone saying, what is property and casualty insurance? So one of the things that we absolutely need to do for someone who is new to industry is acclimate them to the insurance industry. So we have several offerings both within our claim and underwriting organizations, but each of those positions has a very robust training and development program that we use to onboard our new employees with. So within claim, that's the organization that I actually come from. We actually out in Connecticut, we have Claim University, which is it's a complex that our claim professionals go to go out and learn how to kind of handle, auto property liability claims. So we have all of that integrated into not only our new employees, but also, as we look to continue education for some of our existing. And then the other thing I think that we have a big stake in is diversity and inclusion. Just making sure that all of our employees have a good understanding of the different groups of employees that are out there, and making sure that all of the employees within Travelers have a full understanding of the culture and some of the background from which some of the people that they work with come from. That's a huge part of our culture, is allowing people to bring their whole selves to work. So I would say those are the major components about what we're trying to do at Travelers.
So yeah, I can speak on behalf of Northwestern Mutual. So one of the things that, because we know a lot of students have never had an internship prior, or they're just graduating and maybe really haven't been in that business environment, right? So those are really two focuses that we have to try to make sure that when you start with us, you get assigned a mentor. They meet with the mentor once a week. And in addition to your regular mentor that you have your financial advisor mentor as well. So you have that as a go-to person. So you're never really by yourself. And since we have such large groups of interns, the camaraderie amongst everyone else when you're working in teams or in larger group settings versus individual, we really try to make sure that you get to know everyone that's in the program, along with meeting all the advisors on a week-to-week basis. So we really just try to make sure that we know that this is a lot of times new for everybody. So our training and curriculum is really geared towards making sure you have someone there always every step of the way to kind of guide you.
And I know I've already spoken about LaSalle Network's training program, LaSalle University, for our new hires. And as I shared, we definitely have a major commitment to ongoing learning and development for our existing staff as well. We also have a mentor program, and we've also incorporated, when we've done some recent large hiring classes, we've incorporated like a virtual speed networking event where we've made an effort to connect our new hires with more tenured people in the company. So it's not the same as a formal mentorship program, but we've found that to be a really popular event as well. And so those are some of the things that we're doing at LaSalle to just ensure that our employees feel invested in. And I would also say that we have a really strong commitment to making sure that our managers have regular weekly one-on-one sessions with any of their direct reports. So we're big believers in constant feedback, and we feel like those sessions are definitely one of the ways to ensure that it's happening.
Thank you for those responses. I definitely enjoy hearing what kind of the work can do for me, and seeing how, I guess, other workplaces will invest in their employees. We do have a question in the chat box from one of my classmates, Mackenzie, and she's basically just wondering if you guys feel that the economy has or has not affected the amount of new hires, whether you speak towards your specific industry or you can speak on another.
I'll go ahead and start on that one. So at CED, we are hiring more people now than we ever have. We're really excited to capitalize on a market where there aren't quite as many open positions out there. We really anticipate a need for more managers in our division, more salespeople, and more people who want to work in sales and operations type functions. We're also looking to have a lot more internships, which will all be in person this year. So I think that while it has affected our businesses in different ways, and the geographies had a little bit of an impact, or what markets certain businesses that we have are involved with, we certainly are seeing a lot of growth as a division, and as a result need to hire a lot of new people. So it keeps me very busy, and we're excited to continue to find more people.
Yeah, I could certainly speak to Argonne. I mean, we've seen our funding profile within the laboratory, because of our focus, actually increasing dramatically over the last couple of years. We're around $770 million up to about 5 years ago, and we're well over $1 billion now. And a lot of that's driven by the alignment of our mission with a lot of what is going on right now within the government. The emphasis on research in so many different critical areas. We're facing a lot of not new challenges, COVID being obviously one of the more recent ones. We've actually not only have hired more interns over the last couple of years, with the emphasis on having 10% of our workforce comprised of year-round students, but we've also adapted it in such a way that we could actually hire remote. All my interns are remote. They're working from home or from school. And we actually provide the equipment for them, and we have regular check-ins throughout the day, throughout the week. And then we do the same thing with our employees as well. So, we had experienced a pandemic back in the early 2000s, and at that time we realized we needed to be flexible in the event of an outbreak, which we did see this past year, and we were positioned to be able to accommodate having people working from different locations. But it definitely has changed the way we look at business. And I think the exciting part about it is we're in a position to be able to not only leverage that, but even expand on it considerably. And hopefully that will be an opportunity for us to continue our hiring and get involved in more research for the future.
Yeah, I would say, just to piggyback on that, one of the things that we were prepared for, actually, because a couple of years ago we rolled out a work from home program where our claim employees were able to work from home 3 days a week, and then come to the office for 2. So when the pandemic first hit, we had the technological capabilities to really pivot and have everyone go work from home 100% of the year, right? So outside of our essential employees who were working the mailroom, right, about 90% of our workforce had to go remote. And I think as business leaders started to see how business could still keep the lights on, right, working from home, I think what has kind of evolved within our organization is we have more countrywide offerings than we've ever had, right? So a position that my boss might be in Hartford, Connecticut, or in St. Paul, Minnesota. I in Naperville or Chicago would now have the ability to work remote and report into that position, whereas 2 years ago we may not have been there, right? So I think the pandemic has pushed us into a spot where business leaders have to be comfortable with their staff working remote, and I think that within our organization is opening up more countrywide opportunities for folks like yourselves on the phone.
I can speak on Northwestern Mutual. So last summer, we didn't cancel our internship. We did do it all virtual. All of our postgrads who are graduating were still able to come in person. This summer, we are transitioning into a hybrid model because we do have a lot of interns that join us each year. So we're excited about that. But in terms of the COVID impacting our industry as a whole, it actually has made it better. When people, of course, in the financial realm are, a pandemic happens, they kind of are worried about their money. So then they seek financial advisors, right? So, and on the flip side, when the market is doing well, people want their money to grow. So we are recession proof. So you're never going to have to worry about having a job as a financial advisor. So really COVID has just really given us the flexibility to maybe work from home more often now, since clients aren't willing to kind of come in person quite yet. We're hoping to see that change slowly as vaccinations come out. But in the meantime, we do a lot of meetings through Zoom, and we can connect with anywhere across the United States or other countries as well. So that really platform has really given us the opportunity to become stronger across, the networking aspect.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I'll echo that as well here at Calamos. I actually have double the amount of open positions that I normally have. So a lot of our products are positioned to do very well in volatile markets, which of course the past year has been very volatile. But we are, continuing to hire. A lot of the positions that I do have open right now are new additions, so we're not backfilling, but we're actually creating new roles across the firm: wealth management, research, sales as well. So it's a very exciting time for Calamos, especially given that it's been, a pandemic year.
And I'll echo what a lot of others have said as well, that at LaSalle Network, we're hiring more than we ever have before right now. So we've already onboarded about 40 new hires this year. We have a goal to hire 80. And our biggest need is to find more recruiters, because we have just a multitude of open jobs across all of our recruiting verticals at the moment. So it's obviously really encouraging that we need to hire more, because our clients have more open positions that we need to fill. So definitely feeling a positive impact in terms of our hiring right now.
Really good to know, and definitely reassuring. Thank you so much for answering.
We have another question related to sort of the workforce. So universally speaking, it sounds like everyone has prepared to some degree with work from home, sort of battling COVID and on all the current events that have taken place. But one question in particular right here actually asks about, how has COVID impacted, traveling for your jobs? And I know not all the industries today may have to do with traveling, but I know I've heard stories of, people's parents having to travel for work, having to go to different states. And is that still going to be a reality, or are things sort of reduced to localized work now?
So pre-COVID, I would travel about once a month. Part of my reporting relationship, I reported to Hartford, Connecticut. So I would go and participate on project planning in Hartford. And once the pandemic hit, they definitely put like a ban on travel, and all throughout this year, we've seen kind of travel was really not permitted across the organization. And I think it's for someone who has a toddler at home and a growing family, it was really advantageous for me this year to just be able to be at home and not miss out on some of those moments and those memories, right? And I think from a budgetary perspective, a lot of companies are starting to see how much travel did cost them previously, right? And I think that in the future, my bet is that a lot of companies are going to pull back on some of the travel that maybe wasn't necessary, right? Because a lot of it was, do I really need to be there, or can I be participating virtually? So I think some of the roles, while travel is fun and it's good for a new employee to get out and travel a little bit. I think that there may be some pullback, depending on the industry, obviously. But in my industry, we might see a lull in some of the travel activity over the next couple of years, just to allow some of our financial folks to see what financial impact that will have if folks don't travel.
Yeah, I would like to speak to that. So, it was kind of a personal question from my perspective. I used to manage travel for a number of years for Argonne, and saw roughly 10,000 trips a year trickle down to a handful in this past year. It was a dramatic impact. We did see that, when SARS, the original SARS virus and avian flu came in back in the early 2000s, we were recognizing that there was a risk not only to the travelers, but to family members and to coworkers with the spread. And we recognize that there's definitely alternatives that we looked at in certain cases with travel. And we saw that over the last year. We adapted and pivoted very well. But we traveled to every place on the earth. The nature of our research ranges from the Arctic to the Antarctic and every climb throughout the country, throughout the world. And it does inhibit some of our work. We realize that in-person interactions is necessary in a lot of cases, but augmenting it with technological solutions like virtual conferencing and stuff like that is definitely an ideal that we've proven out that we can work under those remote settings, but it's not always perfect for everything. And certainly when you're talking about professional development, networking, and interactions, in person is still a really good prospect for building relationships. And it's certainly an area that we see in business. We see it in the research area as well. But so I think going forward, we'll see that there's the opportunity to leverage more of the technology for those cases where a virtual experience is appropriate. We'll start seeing travel resuming back. But I think one of the things that we'll realize is that there will be maybe combinations. So where people can't travel for many reasons, like physically, they just cannot travel to a destination, then there'll be a virtual maybe offering that could help expand participation in those events or in those work settings so that more people can participate without having to worry about being there physically. So I think we'll definitely be seeing some changes for the future.
I do have a little bit of interest because even though I am a senior, there are a couple of sophomores and juniors in the chat. So do you guys, when it comes to hiring for internships specifically or recruiting for that, are there certain requirements and stipulations set? Are you only looking for incoming seniors, or are you willing to work with incoming juniors? Or do you have we're only looking at business majors, or we're only looking at science majors for Argonne or something?
I'll go ahead and take that. So I was just going to say for us that, yeah, we'd like people to have a business background. As far as internships, we do give priority to incoming seniors. We also will interview and have serious conversations and sometimes hire incoming juniors as well. So if you're younger than that, we'd really like you to get a little bit more experience, make sure that you're in the major that you like, and develop your resume a little bit before we have more serious conversations about opportunities. But really, I think we want people to have a strong business mindset, and that doesn't necessarily exclude people from other majors, but because it's primarily business development and management, that's important to us.
Yeah, I think I could speak to that as well. Is that what we often find is that some of the basic skills of navigating the office environment is usually not available to some underclassmen. It depends on their curriculum and how they've selected some of their courses. But we need people that have comfort with Microsoft products like Excel and Outlook and Word. And if they've adapted and have those skills, then it's easier for the transition for the freshmen and sophomores to come into an internship environment like that. But we also do give preference to juniors and seniors because we try to develop a pipeline as we bring in the interns for potential hiring. And there's nothing that prevents us from keeping an intern for a couple of years as long as they're in a full-time academic standing. But a lot of times it depends on the caliber of the individual and what type of experiences they've had coming in. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in an office environment, but it definitely helps having those fundamental tools to begin with.
Yeah, at Northwestern Mutual, we do allow sophomores and juniors in our internship program, and then our seniors are in our post-grad program. So we have two separate programs aligned based off of where you're at in terms of your years at school. So, but in terms of specific majors, we really aren't major specific. Our training program really is going to teach you all the financial aspects and all the risk management products. So we're really confident that, if you have more of the soft skill sets that we're looking for, that we're really going to make sure we give you the right training so that you can really take the career as a financial advisor and, hopefully pursue it. And then we do offer the internship to stay on with us when you do finish summer, if it's something you do like and want to continue at school. So we customize it per student. We know everyone, we have athletes and people who have outside, maybe another job, so we kind of consolidate hours based off your schedule. So everyone will have a different schedule with us when they're as an intern while during the school year.
Yeah, Travelers, we have the Claim Professional Development Program for interns. And then we also have our Underwriting Professional Development Program for interns. So we actually like to, although it will take all different types of interns at all different class statuses, we actually like to start with some of our rising sophomores. So if we can get a sophomore, an internship in between their sophomore and junior years, or in between their freshman and sophomore years, we'd like to retain those interns so we can show them more about our organization year over year. And then those positions often turn into full-time positions once the internships expire.
At LaSalle Network, we are looking for interns for recruiting internships, sales internships, and then HR and marketing. Our requirements around class year are dependent upon the internship. So for the recruiting and sales interns, we do prefer that they're juniors going into their senior year, but for marketing and HR, we're definitely willing to consider sophomores going into their junior year. And in terms of degree, very flexible for recruiting and sales, just like we are for our full-time recruiting and sales roles. For marketing and HR, we do prefer to see a degree that relates. So a degree in or a major in human resources, a major in marketing.
Amazing. And I just want to interject really quick, since we're about the 12:49, 12:50 mark. With about 10 minutes left, I want to ask sort of a more qualitative question to all of you, and I'll tell you in what order I want you to go in. But more or less, I want to say, what makes your job enjoyable? Like, what is the, let's see, there was actually a question verbatim in the chat, very similar to it. Yeah, what do you enjoy most about what the work you do? And I think that's an excellent thing. Make your industry as appealing as possible in a couple of sentences. And I'd like to start with Travelers Insurance.
So I would say for me, the thing that I enjoy most about my workplace is the people. When I first started in the claim organization, I loved interfacing with customers every day. That was a very enjoyable part of my role. As a claim employee, you get to take people at their worst, right, which is right after an accident or a weather event that causes damage to their home. And you're able to kind of restore them back to a spot of where they were much better than before. So interacting with people and helping people was definitely the number one thing for me. As I continued throughout my career into positions of more responsibility, I also enjoy solving some of the larger business problems, some of the more strategic problems. So I would say those are the two things that for me personally in my career, those are the things that I enjoy.
Thank you, Kyle. LaSalle Network.
Absolutely. So working at a recruiting and staffing firm, you have the opportunity to learn so much about the jobs that exist out there, about so many different types of companies. I joined the organization right out of college. I had majored in English and American Studies. I knew pretty much nothing about the business world, and working in this job, placing people in temp to hire and direct hire jobs with all different kinds of businesses ranging from education to healthcare to manufacturing. It was just my world kind of blew up. I learned so much, and just having the opportunity every single day to interview people, learn about their careers, learn about jobs that you don't even know exist out there. It's just, it never gets dull. And it makes it a lot of fun. And it's obviously also very rewarding to help businesses solve the major problem they have of trying to identify an employee for a particular role, and then also working with job seekers and really making a difference in their lives by helping them find a career they love.
Amazing answer, Megan. Thank you, and Kyle. And we're going to go with Eric at CED.
Great. Well, what I really like about CED, it comes down to the autonomy that we give to our employees. So for me as a recruiter, my boss literally told me at the beginning of the semester, he said, Eric, if you don't want to do any career fairs, that's fine with me. We're very results oriented, right? So I think that ultimately we're always evolving our strategy on the recruiting side. And I'm sure there's no company that didn't have to at least do some of that this school year. For all of us recruiters, I think we're all agreeing there. But what it really comes down to is the fact that I can do what makes sense for my job. I can plan travel as I see necessary. We're very selective on who we hire and who we put into what roles. And as a result, we give them a long leash to do their job. So we try to focus a little bit less on the process, as long as people have a really high level of integrity and that they're working hard. So again, it just comes down to that autonomy where I feel like I can do my job and I'm trusted and don't feel like I just have to have lots of top-down directives or check boxes and follow a specific order to do my job.
That was incredibly well worded, Eric. Thank you. Chrissy Brown at Northwestern Mutual.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that when you look at a culture, right, you can do a job and take that same job and go to any place, right? There's so many different, companies that can do the same thing that you're doing. But when I ask students in interviews, I'm like, what is the culture that you like to work in, right? Because really that's what it boils down to, is that mixing of what makes you happy and what wants you to come to work every day. So the mentoring that we have at Northwestern Mutual, and that knowing that you're never alone feeling, especially when you're new or even have been there for many years, even as a seasoned rep, you still meet with mentors. You still have someone that you checkpoint with in every week. It doesn't go away just because you're new. So I feel like, to me, that is very valuable, and that's is something that you can't kind of take for granted. Knowing that someone's always going to be supportive for your great moments, but maybe when you're not having a good day, right? And those little things go a long way. Just having a message or a note from someone who's giving you that side, pat on the back, or just giving you the encouragement you need. So I feel like working in that environment, having those ideas is super important, especially and when you're starting off, coming right out of school.
Fantastic. Rich, are you gonna echo that or something else?
Yeah, I mean, add a little bit to it as well is the fact that I've been at the laboratory, working for over 20 years as a financial professional, and I'm now in a position where I get to develop other people to actually enjoy the same, hopefully successful career that I had. And it's a constant changing environment. I love that change. That there's never a day that goes by where there's something new, and it really challenges one person to be able to think about how they're going to position themselves for a career when you got so many opportunities evolving constantly, and being able to help see fresh faces coming in out of college into these roles, and they're just, where do I go next? And it's like, pick a spot, because even if you like it, you might have an opportunity to change gears a couple years down the road, and there's an infinite amount of possibilities, which I think is great.
Lovely. And Holland?
Yeah, kind of the same themes that a lot of people have talked about, but things that I love most about Calamos. I have the pleasure of interacting with a lot of different levels of the firm, from people that I'm bringing into the firm right out of school to, department heads and sector heads. So one of the things that I love is I get to interact with all those different levels. But as a recruiter, an internal recruiter, I get to bring people into the firm. And because we do support that learning, growth, and development, I can see them then advance through their careers. And it's really, it's wonderful for me to watch when I, get to recruit somebody, and then 3-4 years later, I can see them being promoted to a manager level or a director level. And that's why we have people that have been at Calamos for 8, 10, 12, 15 years, is because they are happy in the work they do, and they're happy with the people they work with. So it's a great story.
Thank you, Holland. All excellent words of advice, and I'm sure everyone on the call today just wanted to hear all that. And I know I wanted to hear that. So, a very, very appealing things from all the industries. And actually, within the last few minutes, I just wanted to personally give my biggest thanks to all of you for attending and just giving your advice and giving all your key takeaways for today. And then we're gonna actually end everything today with Princess. If you can take this.
I personally just wanted to say, as the marketing major, that thank you to all of you for just sharing that helpful career advice, even as I'm about to embark in the big adult world and finally get a job. I appreciate hearing what could possibly be expected of me, or how I can best shape myself to enter the workforce. And also, to all of the students here, make sure to check out this week's Get Out newsletter. Make sure you just go ahead and check out the rest of the Career Week events. This is our first Career Week, and it's going to continue, I believe, for a couple more years. I like the setup, and I just hope the rest of you enjoy the events that the college has put on for us.
Thank you all so much. Thanks to our panelists sharing their insights and more about their specific organizations and industries. Thanks for our student moderators. You two did a really great job. And thanks for the folks who joined us today and shared their questions and hopefully listened in and got some insight. Thank you all so much. And yeah, I put a link in the chat for other Career Week events. I want to highlight for those students who are interested in internships, we've got a panel of past interns today at 4 p.m. So if you want to learn directly from interns about their experiences, you can go ahead and check that out. And I think we've got some, feel free to put any information in the chat, contact information if you'd like to, if panelists want to put that in the chat for students to check out, feel free to do that. But thank you all so much for being here. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to me, Margaret Stacy Duffy, and I can also connect you to all of these amazing folks we had on the panel today.
Margaret, just a quick question, if that's okay.
Mhm.
If students weren't able to attend today, where could they find the recording of this video?
Great question. I will be recording it and storing it for now. I will just have access to it. If they want to email me, I'll give them access to it, but I will eventually get a link to it somewhere like the hub or where they can access it, broadly, but I will make sure that they have access to it. But they could always email me. Good question, Chris. Thank
Yep.
you.
Thank you so much. Awesome.